Mel, tell them what the topic of the video is today.
Peeling oranges.
Mel don't know. Did you not study?
Oh, the ugly truth.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's perfect because I don't have any makeup on.
The ugly truth about full-time RV living. What you need to know. Today on Home on Hitch.
Stay tuned.
That's right. Get to pay them oranges. Get to pay them oranges, woman. Peel me some oranges.
You want me to tell you what you can do with these oranges?
I know what you can do with them. I'm not doing it. I'm not in the show. I'm not in the show. Dog.
As you can see, dog is doing fine.
Yep. Thanks everybody for asking about dog. All right, today we're gonna do things a little differently. Mel hasn't seen this stuff, so I'm gonna rattle off the topics and we'll see what she has to say about it. So, all right, so we're not trying to persuade anybody to not live in an RV because we like it.
We do. We love it, actually.
It's perfect for us. It's good for us. Might not be good for everybody. All right, what do we say? The ugly truth. The ugly truth about living in an RV that you don't know about. So with everybody, RV travel getting to be such a popular way of life these days, everybody kind of quitting that 9 to 5, dreaming of life on the open road and wind in your hair. Yeah. Sounds like the best thing possible, right? And it is for us and for a lot of people. But you need to make sure that it is for you. So without mortgages or property taxes or any of that crap that goes along with living in a house, it's got to be great, right?
Well, that is pretty great.
Yeah. Well, it is pretty awesome, but don't quit your day job just yet. First and foremost, don't rush into RV living, especially right now with the increase in RV travel by a lot of folks, especially if you are not experienced in RV travel and using your RV because there is a lot that goes along with it. So you don't want to rush into that.
But don't you need an RV?
Yeah, we got to have that. We're getting there.
Okay.
RV travel has become more popular over the past year or two. So that's also made finding reservations a little bit more difficult, as well as a little bit more expensive, especially if you're looking at long-term stays.
Right. So, most people will camp for the weekend.
Yeah.
Lots of people will camp for a week, maybe 2.
Yep.
But we have discovered that it is harder to find a monthly spot. Some RV parks are not open during the winter.
Yeah, depending on where you're at. If you're in a cold climate location, sometimes they're not set up for that and they just don't deal with it, as far as pipes and stuff like that. So they just don't open. So that can make it, depending on where you're looking to be, moving into a smaller space and downsizing is a big deal. And it can be too big of a deal for some people.
Especially if you were someone like me who had a giant closet full of clothes and shoes. Right. You're very limited.
All right. Some people don't think about downsizing, but you've got to sell your house. Okay. So that in itself can be a stressful situation, but so you're probably going to be moving into a RV or something that is a 10th or a 15th of the size that you live in now.
Oh, easily.
So look around at your house And what are you going to do with everything in every drawer, every closet, every box? You know, what do you do with the family heirlooms? Where are you going to put them? What are you going to keep? What are you going to throw away? People who go to this lifestyle kind of try to move towards like a smaller footprint and selling a bunch of their stuff. What do you sell? That's hard.
It is hard. And what do you store? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you want to save things that from the kids, you know, your family memorabilia.
Right.
But you don't want to take that on the road.
You don't want to take it on the road, but you don't want to do a whole lot of storage because storage is super expensive. So if you put in an entire huge house worth of storage into 4 storage units, then you're going to be paying $1,000 a month in storage. So you're going to have to get rid of a bunch of that stuff. And how are you going to do it? Are you going to be able to do it?
So one thing I did is I went ahead and gave the older kids their baby stuff, their kid stuff to go ahead and hold. It's theirs. I was saving it for them.
True.
So
that can be a very stressful situation. Next up is going to be something Mel brought up, and that's you got to have an RV. But what kind of RV do you get? Because buying an RV to camp in on the weekends, buying an RV to live in full time, two different things.
Yes.
So you've got to make that choice, again, slowly and educated. Good thing you can do is go to our website, homeonhitch.com. Under RV education, we have a beginner's guide to RV. It's going to talk about all of the different types of RVs, pluses and minuses, because they all have their own set of pros and cons, and things you might need or not know about them. So go check that out. It's a free download, homeonhitch.com.
And you're going to want to like and subscribe to our channel.
You got to do that
so that you can stay up to date on new information and other quirky little things that you need to know about your RV.
Because we are the experts.
On quirky.
So all RVs are not built the same, and we got a video on that. Link it up here. But you got to be careful about the RV that you choose to full-time in. And the answer to that question is not the same for everybody. It depends on each individual. So do you want something to drive? Do you want something to tow?
What kind of RVer are you going to be?
But you've got to find the right one, because you go through the process of selling your house and downsizing and going through storage, and you sell all your stuff and you buy the wrong RV, and 2 weeks into it, you're miserable and all your stuff is gone and the experience is not what it should be. Take the opportunity while you're still at home and maybe rent a couple of different types of RVs.
Yeah.
And try those out for weekend trips or whatever. Ask a lot of questions from people that you know that have RVs, or reach out to ask us questions in the comments. We'll give you whatever answers we can. That way you can kind of figure out what type of RVer, like Mel said, you're going to be. Unexpected costs, or you think you're going to be hanging out every night at a private luxury campground. You're not going to be saving money, I'll tell you that's for sure. Because, you know, private campgrounds, and they differ in class and quality greatly. Drastic. Are anywhere from, you know, $40 a night to $120, $130 a night or more. And that's going to get very expensive. People do use camping clubs like Thousand Trails, Passport America.
Good Sam's gives you a discount.
And again, you have to research those things and understand what they are, but you have to spend money to save money. So you can spend, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 a year on the Thousand Trails memberships and bounce through their parks pretty inexpensively, but you're limited to only their parks. If you're going to throw, you know, monthly sites in that are not covered by Thousand Trails, then those might be anywhere from $700 to $1,500 a month.
Or more.
So at home, you're used to where you shop, where you buy your groceries at, how much stuff costs. Everything is super expensive right now. But you know pretty much at your local grocery store what you can get for what. When you're out on the road, you're shopping at places that you're not familiar with, stores that you don't know.
So another thing about living smaller is that you have to buy smaller also.
Absolutely.
So you can't do your normal trips to Costco or Sam's and buy in bulk, because where are you going to put it?
Right.
And then your refrigerator space, although we have a full-size refrigerator,
Right.
The regular 12-volt refrigerators
Right.
are quite compact.
Right.
And so you have to go to the grocery
You have
store
to
more
shop
often.
based on that.
You buy the smaller items, and those tend to cost more because you're not
Right.
able to save the money in bulk.
And then on top of that, if you're not careful, you can really easily get into the habit of going out to eat a lot. Next thing you know, you're $200 or $300 into groceries for the week, and $200 or $300 into out to eat costs.
And that's just not a healthy lifestyle either.
There's a lot of other expenses. You have to have a place to actually call a domicile. You have to have a place to have a driver's license, to pay, taxes, tags, somewhere to get mail. There are a lot of states that make those things pretty easy, like South Dakota's one. I think Texas is not too bad. But those are expenses. You have to travel to those states to make those things happen, and you have to go back every once in a while to keep those things up.
So I think a trip back to your home state is probably necessary at a minimum every 6 months.
Probably. So you have to keep those travel expenses in mind. And right now, fuel is still pretty expensive. So those are some high costs. If you're going to be quitting your 9 to 5 and working for yourself,
you have to find your own private health insurance that is also available from state to state.
Yeah. So that can be a big cost. Although there are options out there that are pretty cost effective, it's still expensive.
And if you want to leave us a comment and find out who we use, we'll be happy to tell you.
Absolutely. Leave us a comment below or send us an email. contact@homeonthehitch.com. We'll be glad to share the information of who we use for our insurance, which has been great so far. Really good. We've had good luck with it, and we're enjoying it. So another thing that people don't consider that's a big change when you move into an RV and you start traveling, the nomadic life, which is amazing. Everything changes with who you hang out with, spending time with family, unless they're with you, then the circles you hang out in. Your social circle is going to change.
It does. It changes drastically. I miss my weekly hanging out with my best friend doing crafts. I don't have that now. So how we compensate is that we FaceTime and do crafts together via FaceTime. And that works for us.
So a side effect of living in a small space is going to be when you're apart, if you're happy living together in a small space, I should say, it's going to make apart time a little bit more difficult, surprisingly to us, So, because Mel went to Charleston, and we were kind of within a few days, we were like,
I really missed you.
Yeah, so it was crazy, because we had been living together in this really small space and together all the time, which we like, and then we were not, and it was me and dog, which thank God I had the dog to travel with me from home here to this new contract, but that's something that you need to think about too. It's a benefit, a plus is really going to strengthen your relationship with whoever you're with. If you have a good relationship, it's not going to fix a bad one. It's going to make it worse. So that's really why we say, it's a good idea to rent. If you can rent or borrow an RV and take a 4 or 5 or 6 week trip.
So I can't tell you how many people that we have met on the road that just packed up their kids for the summer, borrowed an RV, and went to as many states as they possibly could. And so my question to them is always, well, what did you think? And
9 times out of 10,
they all say it was amazing and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And, that really helped them bond with their children.
Another misconception that people have, and you will quickly find out is not true when you live in your RV, is you're not on vacation.
No.
It's not vacation all the time. Everybody's like, oh my God, you're on vacation all the time. You're moving around. Well, no, we're not. I'm working at hospitals, and we're handling day-to-day life, with the dog going to the vet, and
I'm still cleaning house and doing laundry and washing dishes.
When you live here,
we don't have yard work to do. That's a plus.
You do have those pluses, but it's life. We're living our life. It's a whole lot different than weekend camping. So don't make that mistake and think you're going to be on vacation all the time, because you're not. We think it's great. We traveled like part-time, taking trips in our RVs for 5 years before we ever got to this point of moving full-time into the
Right.
RV.
We started out as the weekend warrior, and then that led to longer trips. And then before we decided to be full-time, we were doing 6-week trips
Right.
at a time.
Really, that's really not a bad way to do it. That way you get the experience with your RV. You know how to use it. You know how the systems work.
Well, and you know how you're going to be able to relate with each other in
Right.
the RV.
Because it's a tight space, and you may not always be able to get away from somebody if they're mad at you. And something else that I always say is you need to prepare and do whatever you have to do to make sure that your first experiences are good experiences. You want to make sure that your first experiences are good experiences. And so when you get your RV and you're going to take your weekend camping trips, or you get it and you renovate it or fix it like you want it to be, and you're going to go full-time, and you know what? Pay a little extra and go somewhere nice for a month, okay? Or 2 different places that are nice, where you have swimming pool and great hookups and washers and dryers and all that kind of stuff. So your experience transition from home to RV living is not very difficult.
Makes it a more pleasurable transition.
Make sure your goals are realistic, because the dream and the reality are not going to be the same. I'm telling you right now. But if you can make it meet somewhere in the middle, then I think you're going to be happy. Use these tips, do it carefully, and make sure you like and subscribe. Thumbs up.
Hit the notification bell.
That's right, so you don't miss anything when we go live or post a video. And as we always say at the end of our videos, that's going to do it, guys. Take care of each other.
Love each other.
Make every moment count. We will see you next time, guys.
Hi, Hyundai.